Hey guys, Alex here from Pigeon Plays with another Battlebit video. Today we're going to be looking at the Chris Vector. Now, this gun I think might actually be the best gun in the game. So I'm going to go through the stats and the recommended build, and then I'm also going to go through the best way to play with this gun. So if you find this video useful, please drop a like, it really helps out the channel. And without further ado, let's get into the weapon stats. So to really see how good the Groza actually is, I think a really good website to use is truegamedata.com. Now this is a completely free website and it's got all the stats for all the weapons in the game. I'll leave a link in the description below. I highly recommend having a look at this yourself. They've added all the attachments recently so you can get every single detail you need. So what I've done is I've taken out the Chris Vector and some of its main competitors which sort of operate within the same sort of SMG close range role. So as its competitors, we've got the MP5, the UMP45, the Groza, which we covered in a previous video, and the P90. So when you look at the time to kill chart, you've got the color codes here. Red is the Chris Vector, so that's the one we're really looking at. And then the other colors here are its competition. So on the horizontal, we've got the distance going out to 250 meters. Now this is obviously out of an SMG's sort of ideal range anyway, but for the sake of showing the damage drop off over that range, I thought it would be useful to include it. And then on the vertical, we've got the time to kill. Now the higher this value is, that's the worse the gun is performing, so that's the longer it's going to take for you to drop an enemy at that range. Now the first thing you'll notice while looking at this is that the Chris Vector is actually outperforming all of them at range. The only time it's not the fastest is within the first 66 meters where the Groza has a slight edge. However, this chart is purely time to kill, it doesn't factor in weapon handling, and the Chris Vector handles significantly faster than the Groza. So if two people come running around a corner and see each other at the same time, one person with a Vector and one person with a Groza might be able to kill the other guy faster, but the Vector guy will be able to shoot way faster than the Groza person can, and they'll end up winning. And then obviously another factor to consider is the recoil. So I'm not saying that the Vector is better than the Groza under all circumstances, because there's a lot more factors to consider, like recoil and accuracy. The Vector does start to fall behind here. This time to kill here is more of a theoretical time to kill if every bullet lands, but in reality, with such a high rate of fire and quite poor accuracy, you're not going to be getting this time to kill unless you get extremely lucky. Having said that, when you use the Vector in the right circumstances, I genuinely do think it might be the best gun in the game. Now taking a look at the base stats here, there are a few things to consider. Now first of all, the magazine size is only 40 rounds, which sounds like a lot, but when you consider the fact that this gun has got a rate of fire of 1200 rounds per minute, you burn through those magazines so damn quickly. And you'll find as you use this weapon, finding the space to reload is the biggest problem. The problem is when you pick a corner and there's more than 3 targets, because with that 40 round magazine and it's time to kill, you're not going to be able to drop more than 3 or 4 people per magazine, and then you've got that 3.4 second reload, so you have to be able to duck back into cover. Apart from that, its handling is generally really good, and what you want to do when you're putting attachments on this weapon is you want to keep that handling as fast as possible, because that's where the Vector's strongest. Now in terms of attachments, I'd recommend using any sort of sight you're most comfortable with, but keep in mind that some sights do have quite strong negatives for handling and others don't. So personally for me, I like the red dot. It has very little impact on the weapon. It does minus the draw speed ever so slightly, but we're going to bring that back up with other attachments later. So when considering which underbarrel attachment you want to use, you really want to make sure that you're not selecting something that has a hugely negative effect on your aim down sight speed or your movement speed, because that's really what keeps this weapon competitive, and you don't want it to be taken away what makes this gun special. I prefer to go with the stubby grip because it does increase that draw speed. Both of these have a 0.9% impact on your movement speed, but that is very minimal, and we're going to bring that back up later. So I would recommend the stubby grip because it does make that gun handle a little bit better, but more importantly, it really helps out that draw speed again. Now for the magazine, I'd recommend using the quick draw magazine. It really helps with that reload time at the expense of some vertical and horizontal recoil, but the recoil for the Vector isn't too bad, and again, you're going to be using this at closer ranges, so overall it's definitely worth it. Now in terms of the barrel, this is a bit more personal preference on how you want to use this weapon, but for me, I just like using the compensator. It does have quite a negative impact on your accuracy, it's minus about 13%, but I don't use this weapon at range at all, so just shaving off that recoil just a little bit I think is worth it personally for me. Alternatively, you could use the tactical. This has basically the same benefits, but it doesn't affect accuracy. It's that first shot bullet jump. Now to be honest, I don't think a barrel actually really matters on this weapon too much, because like I said, you're not going to be using it at range anyway, so as long as you're not making this gun significantly worse to the point where it's a problem, you can kind of do what you want with this. Now a lot of people want to go with suppressors, so when they get flanked they can stay quiet, but to be honest, with a game as intense as Battlebit, I actually don't think you need a suppressor a lot of the time, because the game is so loud that your gunshots are probably going to get drowned out by everybody else anyway. And then finally, we have the side rail attachment option. Now, obviously, the first thing you're going to be looking at here is a laser sight. Do you want one? Yes or no? And ultimately, this is going to be a personal sort of preference decision. It depends on how you tend to play. If you find yourself hip firing a lot, then I would recommend using it because it does really help with that, but it does impact your draw speed. So if you can get into the habit of aiming down sight all the time, unless they're literally right in front of your face, you probably don't need one. I personally use one because I tend to hip fire more than I should. But as I said, this is a personal preference. So for a recommended class for the Vector, I would recommend using the medic build, because you're going to be fighting right up close and personal with all the enemies and your teammates. Being able to get those revives off and being able to heal yourself is going to be so instrumental in keeping momentum. And finally, what you really want to do is you want to go into your character menu and you want to change and you want to adjust these stats to be as fast as possible, because that's where the Vector's at its best. So first things first, I would look at the chest armor, and I would equip any light variation of your armor because it gives you that 5% movement speed and 5% aiming speed. This is so important in being able to outmaneuver your enemies, and like I said earlier, when you have to reload, being able to just vanish into a building before the enemy can even get their sights on you is so important. And with the time to kills being as fast as they are in this game, I do genuinely believe that being faster is better than being more protected, because if you're too fast for them to hit you, your armor doesn't actually matter really, does it? Now I take the exact same strategy with your backpack, equip the lightest one possible so it doesn't hinder your running speed or aiming speed all too much. Having said all that, I do prefer to still keep a helmet on because it only affects your aim speed, and being able to take a stray headshot is going to be so important in winning those fights. I don't like to be in situations where if someone gets a lucky headshot, I'm going to lose. Personally, I think having a helmet on is worth it because it just eliminates the chance of just getting one-tapped out of nowhere. Okay, so I think that's enough about talking about the weapon. It's time to see this thing in action. I'm going to cut to the highlights of this amazing game I had. I think it really showed off why the Vector is an absolute beast of a weapon. I was surviving fights that I really shouldn't have, so if you enjoy the video, drop a like. If you don't, drop a dislike, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love how you can jump to these buildings. I think the rappel saved me there. Let's toss a few smokes. I want to keep my distance is pretty short for this. Okay, maybe not that close. Did you see his body? Right, there's one. There's two. Let's get a quick reload. I want to keep the pressure up here. God, there's loads in that building. I'm going to throw a few more smokes, I think. Oh, he's already dead. Right. Oh, there they are. I need to pull back. I think I pushed too far. Yeah, I did. Ow. I'm lucky to be alive here. I need to get back up there into that building, I think. Elevation is so key in this game. Double, long reload. Oh my god. I wish I had an M249 right now. I wish I had an M249 right now. If I dream hard enough, this will turn into one. Oh. The Vector's just so nice to use. There's an easy double. Easy double. I think there's some down this way. That's friendly. Didn't expect him to be there. Just throwing smokes and pushing. Throwing smokes and pushing. I would revive him, but his microphone's too aids. That's too horrible to listen to. I'm surprised I made that. It's like parkour. There's no way he saw that death coming then. I love how you could just spawn 80 people. You could just spawn 80 people with the Vector. It's just silly. Reload. It feels so long. Feels so long. Okay, let's go. Oh, I love it. I just love it. Here's the gun review. Just use this, don't use anything else. That's it, that's the review. Attachments, honestly, they, you know, keep the gun quick, don't ruin it. And you just want to sort of duck in, you want to flank as much as you can, play super aggressive, but don't, you know, try not to pick the angles where people are already pre-aiming, because if they're pre-aiming, that you'll lose. But if they're not, you're probably going to win. And genuinely, it's really.
Don't let me die out there.
I recommend smokes highly.
Oh, what a champion! What a champion!
Oh, they didn't die in that corner. Don't think I'm going to get a res here.
Oh fuck! I'm not fucking there.
That guy nearly got me.
Thank you.
Just need to quickly heal. Oh wait, hang on. Okay. I think there's a vehicle in the other side of this wall. Try on the C4. 3, 2, 1. Not bad, not bad. Nothing on the second try. Let's revive this guy before we push in. Where was he? Oh, he was in the corner. Hello. Defeat. Damn. I mean, I think that was one hell of a game, though. We got absolutely smashed. But, I mean, I, for one, had a great time, and I was second in the team, so 54-23. I could have died a bit less. I was playing quite aggressively, taking more chances than I should. Having said that, I think that's what you're supposed to do with the Vector. You're supposed to be as light as possible and as aggressive as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.